Okay, hiya plastic people. So today we're gonna work on the wiring and cabling for the Rook. I've already got a little bit done. I was trying to get some of the soldering and crimping out of the way before today. So the only real thing that I've got, if you can see, is I do have the Raspberry Pi wired up direct to the board. So I still have to do the power to the board, the beds. Then I did take care of extensions for the tool head fans and the light. We may have to go on this camera angle. Might be a little better for viewing. So I think what we'll do is we'll work top down. Probably going to be the best. Get it set up. I did get the extruder finished up, and I did get the ECAS in, so it's ready to go. Do not remember what size screw I had figured we were going to need for this one though. I think the 25s may work. And go ahead and get it mounted. Yeah, the 25s will be fine. The heat sets are on the bottom, so it's got to go all the way through to get to it, plus the bit of the extruder. This will definitely need to be cut down. It's way too long. So we'll get that on. Get that in there first. Then we can also, I've got the tool head is all the way to the front right now. And the front left, so that should be pretty much the maximum that it's going to need to go. Okay, so those are a little long. Let's see if I've got a 20. See if maybe they're, I'm not really wanting it to stick out so much. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. So the M3 by 20s are long enough to reach that heat set and snug us down. I was looking, and I did see one of the guys had done his cable management tied to here. I was thinking about either that or one of my stick-on zip tie holders here. Either one would work. I'm thinking here, zip tie into here probably a little better though. A little further back. If I had the CAD skills, I'd model in a holder there, or even model one that just goes underneath here. Either would work fine. Get this back front right. We'll probably snip that there. And for that, we'll use a cutter. Keep from deforming it. Let's see how that goes. should work out good. A little extra. I can always cut it down again if I need to. Someplace I've got a clip for that. Who knows where right now? I'll find it later. All right. And then I've got the wires from one of my Revo hot ends. And actually, I think this is the thermistor wire from the Fizet's Voron Trident kit. But it's the same plug, so I didn't have to worry about wiring any of those. So that'll give me that one there. These probably going to be a little long, but I might just leave them and bundle it up underneath if I've got room, rather than have to re-terminate. And then these here, I had bought a big pack of these here that were already terminated, and I just soldered them on to a length. Needed a long one and a short one. Long one for I had both ends. So for the dual fans, I just snipped it up here and then soldered one of the other ends on. That way, made it a lot easier. Didn't have to do a whole lot of crimping. And I know I've got some wrap. Hopefully, yeah, this is the right size wrap. Make it a lot nicer looking. Wrap all this in here. Can use the Bowden tube to help strengthen it, and then it'll just exit out and we'll go right there. All the way down. Cut it a little long. I can always trim it back if I need to later. And I'll leave a little extra in there. Hi, Delmar. Yeah, I did a little extra yesterday, starting mine out. It was, I don't want to subject you guys to the torture of watching me crimp and solder if I can avoid it. So I went ahead and took care of a lot of that kind of stuff yesterday. I mean, this piece here, solder and this little end on for the bed thermistor. That was a pain enough. I didn't want to put you guys through that. But I love this stuff. I don't think I've got a lighter up here to burn my ends, but on this printer, if they're going to be hidden anyway, I'll be able to push it down in the middle of the tool head, along with put it underneath. So not as big a deal on making it as pretty as I can. Now on the extruder motor, when I cut this to length, am I going to be able to just stay with the same wire order? I remember something on Nero's stream about wire order on those, but I don't remember what it was, and I didn't go back to look at it. Yeah, my wife, we were watching the Maple Hill disc golf tournament last night, so she watched that while I did some of the wiring, so she didn't have to watch me do the wiring. And if I need to, if this one is not, if this wrap is not big enough, I've got some thicker stuff in the server closet. I hope this is thick enough because I think it's the right size. Just these big old connections are might be a little tight in there. But definitely want to be able to plug and unplug rather than run one line all the way through. Makes maintenance in the future a whole lot easier. Okay, yeah, I saw the pinned post. I wasn't quite sure what it was saying. And the colors did not match up to this extruder motor, so I was not 100% on that. So I'll pull that back up here in a bit and take a peek. Because I know I'm going to want to shorten those cables, especially the Z motor being right underneath there. It only needs like 4 inches. I'd say this is a lot better trying to feed through this where you can split it apart than it would have been to do the other stuff where I'd have to feed it through. Because I've got some of that too. This sleeving just looks so much better than the cable wrap or leaving them undone at all. Or I might just zip tie it to the Bowden tube. I think that'll work. Got some of these really thin zip ties. Use those instead. Oh, okay. I'll have to look at that. I'll pull that up here in a second once I get this zip tied to the Bowden tube. I didn't even see Steve's build on one of these. I did see people saying they were building one because of him, so I guess he did one or at least brought it up. You know what would have, I didn't even look to see if somebody had modeled one of these strain reliefs with built-in zip tie loops. I did get the ECAS part printed out. It finished about an hour or so after the stream last week. So that's what's pieces on here now for the extruder. All right. It looks like it's moving well. Should work out good. So, see if we can squeeze this in here. Another nice thing with these tiny little, really thin zip ties is they can fit in here where that gear is and they're not going to get in the way. Okay, let's find that. I don't keep the Discord open too much because I just don't like the constant beeps. That one. So, yeah, I was looking at that. I can always undo it and redo that. That was one of the two spots I had. It was either tying it to the extruder or putting one on the mount. I kind of like it on that extruder because it kind of follows the Bowden tube a little better. And then also when it goes down, it won't be in the way of any of the Z belt or Z, either the Z bed mount or the cables that are going to come from it. And 6 of one, half a dozen of another, really. I mean, they'll either way works perfectly fine. Let's see. So I saw the pinned, here we go. So this one from Apple Pie is the pinout I need to follow to the board, correct? And then I saw messages. Ah. Okay, that would work. I've got, well, that can work where, yeah, I've got this whole box of of mounts that have the tape on them already. So depending on what size I need, that one from Steve will work great because it's a lot smaller than some of these. I mean, these are 1 inch by 1 inch. That one's at least 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. The others might be 3/4. And then these are the tiny little ones that came with the Trident. And the tape on them doesn't seem to be very good. But we'll get this one downloaded because I can definitely see places for it. And I've got the gray loaded, so let's start up the printer. I don't know how hot that thing was. My chamber temp on the Trident was at like 45, 50 during a couple prints that I was running yesterday. A buddy of mine was asked me to print out some parts for some cosplay stuff for him and his wife, and had it going on the Trident and on my Saturn II, and it worked out pretty good on both. Of course, Saturn II being resin gave me some really good detail on some of it. And then, of course, the size and speed on the Trident came in handy for some of the bigger parts. It was a staff, and I don't even remember what the anime was that she was wanting it. Yeah, I think right here I'll put that one of those. They shouldn't take but a couple of minutes to print. I just have to move my camera off of the top of that Trident so it's not shaking around. Now, Delmar, when you mounted your power supply, did you mount it with the terminals facing the bottom of the printer or facing the top of the printer? 10 minutes for that print, so let's do 2 of them since it's ASA. And then I'll use one at the bottom and I'll use one at the top, or one on the bed. And hopefully I can leave the camera here and it's not shaking too awful much. I'll check it and see. I can also move to the other camera, but I've also got, I can move this over someplace else. So what I'll do when those print is I'll VHB one here to the bed. That way I've got my bed wires can all go right here and come down. And I need to cut another length of that. Might have to order some more of this stuff. Amazon also has this in a white, so I was really tempted to grab it in white. I think that would look really good on the Trident with the color scheme I've got there. Yeah, I might have to take this off and hit it with the lighter later just to clean up those frayed ends. That can be done later. That's not something that's pressing and needs to be done on the stream. And I still have to do the same thing here on my Prusa to replace that old worn stock wrap that is still on there. That's what I ordered the thicker stuff for. There we go. All right. Well, I can worry about that later, so let's lay it down. Get these in here. I guess they're going to need to try to squeeze it into that one. And I just got some masking tape from car models. We'll put on that one. That way I know which is which. So that'll be the rear right motor. Has the tape on it. Yeah, this is getting pretty full. I might have been better off getting the thicker one out of the closet, but I think it will all fit. There we go. Oh, that looks so much better already. So, give us a nice clean look on the back. My print. The Nomi is saying my bed's at 93C. I know it lags behind a little bit, but shouldn't be too bad there. And then once I get all the cabling done, then I'll worry about doing either acetone or super glue to get the bed that little bit of warp out of it. That way, it's a little bit neater. All right. Check on here. So this will be for the bed first. So that we're looking here, the bed goes in the one closest to the power, and the thermistor goes the second in there from the other end. So be bed in here, and thermistor for the bed goes here. Elevate that a little bit. Might make it easier to get to and see. I did put the little fan here, and I've already got it plugged into the controller fan spot. And this was where, yeah, I'll just see if I've got the ferrules for that in my kit. That's a lot of extra space. I think I'd much rather snip it and add the ferrules. Color doesn't really matter. Those are the right ones. Give me some extra room to play at least. Don't want to be too close. And I know this is the kit that Vector 3D sells the models for anyway. I think they're like $4 US. So you can cut, this one is for the 4 mil. It's got a 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, and 4. It doesn't seem to be too bad yet on the vibration. All right, let's close that one. See how it gets after it finishes doing bed leveling and such. thought this might be the easier way to do it, was to go ahead and take that off. And then our thermistor for the bed should be the white one, and it's going in here. And then this is our end stop, which is going where? In the third one, in here. All right, so that takes care of those. Now to feed all this mess through. Now I've got two of those ties that you messaged me printing out right now, Delmar, so they should be done in about 15 minutes, I think it was. I think it said 14 for the estimate. Right now it's heating the hot end up. We'll see how shaky the camera may get. Okay. These are our fans. I don't remember which one was which, but they're easy enough to swap around if I get them wrong. But I think the long one was our tool head, which should be this one here, and then this one here. The other. Oh, hey Nuno, how are you today? The build is going good. Okay, yeah, I see where you mean. I think I'm going to leave it like this, and maybe I might print a few more of these out. But I think I'm going to leave it like I've got it for now and see how it works out. Try to get this wired in real quick, and then I'll clean up underneath a little bit more after the fact. And I'll remount the board. Just easier to, definitely to get these ferrules inserted into the board with it not mounted. It'll probably be fine. After this one, the only thing I'll have left to insert then will be the motor drivers, and they're on the opposite side of the board. So I think I'll get the board mounted back up before I do that. Maybe get the power. That might be a pain to get the power ferrules installed, so I'll do that too. Delmar, when you mounted your power supply in there, was it facing out like this or facing in like that? I know it's easier to get to the terminals if it's out, but it looks like it safer to put it this way because you don't have those sitting facing outward. I mean, I can always print a cover for it if I don't have one already someplace, but it also much less cable length. All right, let's get the board mounted back on there. And sorry for my big hands getting in the way. I do not believe these screws are ferrous or magnetic. Put 2 in for now. Can always put the other 2 in later. That way if I need to take the board off, again, I've only got 2 instead of 4 to undo. There we go. And I don't think it's going anywhere anyway. And I'll probably have to pull it to get to the bed power anyway. At least there's enough room up here by this foot to kind of tuck some of these cables. Might even take one of these mounts that's printing and put the put one in here too. I did have to shim up the foot bolts yesterday, so I've already done that so that the power supply will fit. Okay, that was the way, and that was the way I was planning on doing it. And maybe, you know, with this color scheme, when we get done, I do have my, you can kind of see there. Let's see if I can turn off the stream light. And you can see that green fluoresces pretty good. So that looks really cool with that pop green fluoresces. So it'll look pretty cool. I've got a couple black lights I can set on it. Maybe even wire some up underneath. All right, so let's do the extruder motor first. Let's tie all of those there. Keep them a little bit neater. Probably ought to plug in that Z motor as well, while I might have access to it. It's a little tight there. But it can hang off to the side and out of the way, and I won't have to worry about it until it's time to wire it up. And I did tuck the pi cable underneath there so it's a little neater. There's not a whole lot of space up in here, but there's some. And the extruder is going all the way over here. So that's one that I might just want to take the board off again and route it underneath the board. And then it can come over to here. So I want a little extra though, just in case. And for this, I'll use the 2mm on my strippers. All right. I can make a big old mess up here and find the heat shrink that I lost last night. So I've got, I know they say they're engineered. I'm pretty sure these are the counterfeit ones. They're, if nothing else, I think these were the ones made in Taiwan, not the ones made in Japan. So maybe they're real, they're just not made in Japan. And I need my glasses. Say I'd rival Steve on glasses switching, but I normally don't need them. And I've gotten to the point where what I do is I just crimp on the, I'll crimp on the insulation and then I'll crimp on the wire. That seems to work best for me. I mean, your mileage may vary. Of course, some people have a better way. And I like using these and just doing the double crimp over. I've got some of the ones that should do it at one time, but I always find I put it in the wrong spot. This one is just double crimp maybe, but it's so quick and easy that I'm fine with the double crimp. I do need to get one of Nero's Crimpin' Ain't Easy shirts. Make sure I wear that on streams when I got a crimp. Move this over here where I can see it better. Unfortunately, the chat and that is all behind me. Did you have your Z connector on the opposite side, Nuno? I didn't even look at how the board and all that was going to be in here when I was doing it. If I would have caught that, I definitely would have flipped that Z motor around. And probably easy enough to do it as it is, but this will just put all my wires on that same side anyway, so I'm not worth messing with it to me. And both of those zip tie mounts are done. Let's see how much did that shake the camera? The camera's on top of the trident. And there they are. A little bit of burnt plastic on that one. That'll definitely go there. And I'll put one on the bed up here for sure. That way I can zip tie the stuff off that goes on the bed there on the bed for some strain relief. All right, so there is that. Nuno, you said this can stay in this order, right? The red, green, yellow, blue. Do we need to change? I knew I left the GitHub open for a reason, and it was for that pinned post. Or not GitHub, the Discord. And it looks like my laptop decided that it wanted to be 1920 by 1080 on my external monitor rather than 1900 or 1920 by 1200. Pinned post. Here we go. All right, so this is what I've got for the pinned post, which that matches the color scheme on the X, Y, and Z, or A, B, and Z motors, but not on the other. I guess I can print a bunch of these. So, and let's go back, I think. Let me, got to bring up that one. Okay, so same order for the extruder, but the order on the pin post for the X, Y, A, B, Z. Okay, good. That's easy enough to deal with. And I noticed this extruder motor, like the A and B are twisted, but the extruder isn't. Not that it really, I don't think it really matters that much on these, but these are some tiny little wires. Passes the pull test at least. All right. And I found one nice tool for dealing with these JSTs too, is to use your SIM tool, your SIM removal tool from your phone or tablet. That really does seem to help a good bit to get in and remove the pins when you need to, or even to push them in a little further when needed. All right, so I don't have any tinier split looms, so zip ties may be my friend. All right, so now we are going to do the rear right motor. I don't remember if that's A or B. I never keep them straight. I think it's B, if I remember right. Probably don't though. Oh no, rear right is A. Okay. Rear right is A. So that is going to go all the way over here. So that's this one. That will go here. Let's give it a little extra space there. And then I'll harvest all these extra connectors later on today. That's where that pin tool will come in handy. That little SIM tool will come in really handy when I'm harvesting those connectors off, and then I'll just toss them in my boxes and I'll have them for next time. And hopefully, I haven't checked on Adam to see how he's doing. I know he was taking some time off for some health issues. Hopefully he's back and doing good soon, if he's not already. I do want to set up one of his heat insert tools. I really like that one from Naomi Wu, but the price on it's just a little too much for a purpose-built thing like that only does the one thing. Especially when I'm fine doing them manually, that extra cost is a big hurdle when manual works fine. All right. At least these three motors, the wiring on them is not as thin and fragile feeling as the extruder motor. So I think I've got some very similar wire to what's on that extruder in my wire kit. I think it's what came with the my 2.4 kit from Magic Studio, which didn't get used because I ordered the Linneo wiring harness to use with a tool head board. Which I'd love to replace with a CAN board, but it works perfect, and that wiring harness and that wasn't cheap, so it's gonna stay. until it's doesn't work anymore. Why fix what's not broken? At least yet. Although that printer still needs to get tap installed, which also means the MGN 12 upgrade, since it's running dual MGN 9s right now. That, we'll see when that gets done. Next week there won't be a stream. We'll be running to doing a day trip. My wife took the day off. We're going to run down to Chattanooga. Don't know what all we'll do. We'll do probably the aquarium and a few other things. Howdy, 3D Experiments. I'm just crimping wires right now, so you're not really missing much other than my poor crimping skills. But they are getting better with every crimp, I think. I guess that'll remain to be seen for when we actually start trying to run the thing. Let's see. Discord. So we are 4-pin this way, red, black, green, blue. Okay. Red, black, green, blue. And I must have hate it when I do that. Crimp it, and you crimp that little tab down. And I just chopped all my nails and filed them down a little bit the other day, so not many nails left. So red, that's snapped in good. Black, I didn't crimp the clip down. Black, green, and blue. There we go, and that one is going. That was the A motor. That one is going here. There we go. And then B motor is the one next to it here. So let's do that one there. I'm going to have to vacuum in here because there's tiny bits of stripped wire on the floor, I'm sure. Some of it doesn't seem to come off of here. Just that little bit of grease on there kind of holds on to it. And let me mute Discord. I want to mute all of it. There we go. I don't want to hear it while I'm trying to do this. Or I guess it's just going to beep at me anyway. Did not get anywhere near as many of these tiny little of the JST crimps in this kit, but it's kind of nice that none of them were on the holder. So all I've got to do is pick them out of there and crimp them rather than take them off of the tree. But that's another one, not a big deal either way. It is nice not having to, and at the same time it's nice not having to fish through there and have the problems of them getting stuck together. And I do think these are I know they're made in Taiwan ones, but I think these are the counterfeit engineers, but they may not be. They may just be made in Taiwan instead of Japan. But now that once I've gotten used to using them, I have no problems using them. They just work pretty quick and easy for me. I picked them up on Amazon year and a half, 2 years ago, right when I first got my 2.4 kit and needed to do some crimps. All right. And I don't think I crimped any little tabs this time. So we are red, black, green, blue. Red. I might have gotten that one. Yep. Black. Green. And blue. Oh, blue didn't pass the tug test. There we go. Now it passes the tug test. And that's in. And last but not least, do the Z motor, or not the Z motor, the Z motor. That one goes here, right next to the B motor. I think that should be good there. Then I can pull it out of that loop. Well, this is going a little bit quicker on crimping than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a lot harder, a lot more of a nightmare, and this is probably the easiest day I've had crimping in ever, at least for these things. But at least it's not those tiny little 1.25 JSTs like the what was it, the 2209 had, or 2240, whichever can board I had on the Trident. Those were, I actually ended up crimping them instead of using the pre-made crimped wires that I had ordered. But those were a pain. I am not looking forward to having to do any more of those. These regular JSTs are fine. They're not too bad. But those 1.25s are, those things are a nightmare. especially when you don't have your eyesight anymore, and I never had it that fine. A little overdid the pinch on this one. Now, as long as I can get the wire in there, should be okay. I just take my flathead here and widen it a little bit. There we go. Now I do have a magnetic plate with the helping hands and a magnifier, lighted magnifier on it. That came in really handy doing those little tiny JSTs. All right, this one needs to be recrimped. I pushed it at the wrong time and crimped nothing but insulation. There was no wire left to crimp. It's just going to be a little wonky with the green one. Just when I was saying how great it was going, how easy the crimping was going, then I make the mistake. And that's how it always goes, though. You think everything's going perfect, not having any problems, and then you end up making a mistake. Yeah, I did, that's for sure. I need to stop saying things like that. Well, only two more, well, yeah, really only two more crimps. The other two crimps are the are doing the ferrules, and I'm sure I can find a way to mess that up, but in order to do that, it takes a lot of talent. I don't know if I've got quite that much talent. But I'm sure it can be done. All right. One more 4. And again, black, red, green, blue. So there is a red, black, green, blue. I'm not colorblind, so I shouldn't have that kind of a problem. And at least I only need, I like my glasses when I'm driving at night. Those, they come in handy then for my distance vision. And then my close vision for something like this is real handy, but I don't normally wear my glasses. not 100% necessary for me. Unless I've got something up close that's tiny. All right, so there's that one. Yeah, I think what I'll do with these is I'll pull the board back off and kind of tuck them up underneath maybe. Oh, they may be fine just like that too. I don't know how much good that fan's going to do. Guess we can get the bulk of the cabling back behind it. I think a zip tie right there will work. May not need to put it, I think it'll fit up there in this, right behind the foot. And I can always move the plate up out of the way, cable manage up here, and get it a little neater. And I think we'll get one of these zip tie mounts, maybe right about there. And we'll zip tie it. The HB tape. I'm going to use the no-name cheaper stuff that came with the Trident. That way I can at least get it used and out of my stock. It's not as nice as the 3M stuff, but I think it'll do the job. I still have to write the image to a SD card for the Pi and do the board. I meant to do that last night and just got doing everything else and doing the wiring, and next thing I knew it was almost 10 o'clock. All right, I need my thinner zip ties for these. All right, let's put that right there. Yeah, I'll definitely want to print another one of those out to put up here on this foot too. let's set it up here. And we'll get this one here on. As long as I can keep from slicing a finger with scissors again. I did that. I put a I've got a drop line, a fish line in my network closet, and I was up cleaning everything up because we ended up not using it when we got the fiber installed a couple months back, and it just been so hot that I didn't feel like going back up in the attic until a couple weeks ago, and went up and I was holding the fish line in my fingers like this, and I went snip and snipped right into my finger. Of course, I was tucked up in the attic, contorted to get to where I needed to get for everything. So I just kind of let it bleed out for about 5 minutes while I finished cleaning everything up, because it wasn't worth trying to climb out of there just to go take care of a Band-Aid and then back in there. It wasn't bad enough to worry about. Wasn't gonna die from it, and it wasn't nice sharp scissors, so it wasn't very painful either. It's just one of those things where you're like, I'm so dumb for doing that. I knew my finger was there. Okay, so that gives me plenty of the room there. I may not want to do that one there, but I'll definitely want to do that one there. I think that'll work. And you were saying, Delmar, you put one up here. I kind of like it here on the extruder. It's not in the way. The zip ties are small and thin enough. They're not interfering with the motor. So I think I'm going to leave that, at least for now. Easily revisited if need be. So let's see if we can cable manage these a little better. Maybe one right there might help too. I'd like to see, I don't know who's doing it, Delmar, but maybe some hoops or that in the bottom frame, where it just kind of some little cable management hoops to make some of this a little easier. Might be nice. Not really necessary. I like to keep my cables neat, so I think about some of that where some other people don't mind the rat's nest. I have definitely seen some really bad cable management, not just on 3D printers. I do custom water cooling on my desktops, and I've been building my own computer since 97, 98. I have not bought a boxed desktop since 95 or 96. So you do that kind of stuff, you get really anal with your cable management. But not a, like I said, it's not really a big deal. Most people probably would not care. Most people are probably fine not dealing with it and just kind of tucking it out of the way. It's about all I'm really doing here, just kind of cinching them up a bit to make it a little bit neater. There we go. That'll work. And that moves up and down nicely. Good strain relief there on all 3 cables. I got good tension on my Z belt. I got good tension on my A and B. I think I need to maybe tighten up the A. Let's flip it over, take a peek underneath there. Oh, we still got to do the power supply. And I think I'm going to want to take the board out. I don't know if I can quite get the ferrules in there. I want this here to run just underneath the ferrules. So I've already terminated these and I already terminated these, so we're good on all of that. Get the right end on my iFixit. And I think we'll wrap up here in a minute once we get this all in, and I'll worry about getting the software done sometime through the week, and then we can the next time when we're back, not next week but in 2 weeks, we can visit the setup, make sure everything's working, get it printing, make it look, you know, look like a real printer at that point. And these are my wires that are going to go to the board. So they're not cut to length yet. I'll need to I wanted to get them on like this first, and then I can see how we're going to be. And I didn't realize I didn't have all my cables tucked up here. Yeah, that fan may come out. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. We'll see. Because I know this power supply is going to fit here. Nice thing about that is, though, these cables do not need to be long at all. There we go. I do believe I tested. No, I did not, because I am at 230. So now I'm at 115. So let's check. Let's get this plugged in, and then we'll check to make sure we're at 24 volt before we actually plug it in. Good call, Delmar. I hadn't even checked that on this one yet. I tested the Trident early on to make sure. That way I knew I was set, and I didn't even think to do that on this one yet. easy enough to do. And this clamp meter, my neighbor owns a countertop install business, and they were on job site, and nobody else, they were the last trade in, nobody else was due to show back up. Somebody had left this on site, and he brought it home with him, brought it over, and asked me if it'd be something I could use. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess so. And don't know how to use this particular one. I'm sure I can figure it out. Well, yeah, I figured it out. Did a search to find the model and manufacturer model. That way I could get the manual and see exactly how it would need to be used for everything. Yeah, it works great, and a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be. I figured, you know, somebody leaving behind that kind of thing at that price, they'd have definitely come back for it. But I'm sure, you know, when you're doing those on the, you know, construction sites and that, it's easy to forget things when you're packing your box, and you may be 2 months, 3 months before you realize it's gone. We have power, no magic smoke let out. So let's see where we're at. Yeah, I think we're pretty good, 23.92. Let's see if I can get it just a hair up. Let's get closer to the 24. This is a really sensitive dial. And I hear the dog barking outside. Who knows what for? I think I'll stick right there. 24 dead on. So we'll go there. Unplug that. I don't want mains voltage while I am messing around in there. Make sure that we power it on and off again. Put my voltmeter up. Oh. Let's see, now I need ferrules. And I need to strip these wires. Short as they are, it'll be easier to do it off of the, with them not plugged in there. And I think I'm going to go longer than 4 mil. Nice. That's the nice thing is you can take those off. They're just magnetic, and then strip however much you need to, eyeballing it. Now the problem here is, do I have a ferrule that's going to fit in these terminals that will fit the wire? I don't want to solder it. I'd rather put the bare wire in there, but I'd much rather use a ferrule if I can do so. I don't trust the solder on these, so these terminals are just not the greatest for that. I'd like one actually that's like the, I haven't seen anybody else do it except for Prusa, but the terminal for the bed on the Prusa uses ferrules, but it's a plug, so you can unplug it from the board itself. Oh, these should be fine. Be nice if the ferrules were different colors, though. Instead of, you know, have a black in the same size, but they're different sizes for the different colors. But the wire's different colors, so it's not that big a deal. I can just look at what color the wire is and know which one needs to go where. Which, that's the next thing I need to know is, where does the power go? Which is negative, which is positive? And I didn't mark my board for once, but it looks like positive here. And then the negative is the other one, of course. Tug test passes. Negative in, tug test passes. Okay, so that is going to go this way. And we are voltage positive. And I could have sworn it was further back in there earlier. There we go, when I was checking length. I want it in as far as I can get it. There it goes. Now, this is where ferrous screws would be really nice, where you're trying to get these back in here. Again, I'm just going to get 2 in for now. I still got to get the board done. Sorry, I'm getting in the way. Got to be able to see up in here. My big fat fingers are not helping. Ball end driver is probably not helping too much either. There we go. I'm missing 2 screws. Probably missing a whole lot more than that, but at least missing 2 from the board. There they are. think I need to worry about taking it out again. I think we should be good now. Just go ahead and get all 4 back in there. Or 3. I don't see where the 4th one. Oh, there. I think I see it. It's not going anywhere with just the 2, really. So it's not that big of a deal if one or 2 is missing. But I'll know it's not there. I wouldn't even have to share it with anybody else, but I'd know. And that would be enough. Of course, might be a pain to get it in this one. Now the cables are all plugged in. It'll be real easy to cross thread it. Use one of these Newers with that titanium nitride coating that holds onto it, even if it isn't ferrous. I love these weirs. They're great, but that ball head sometimes is not what you need. There we go. All right, so that looks good. Of course, power supply is going to go in just like that. I'm not going to screw it in now because I got to get to the SD card slots for everything, but actually not too displeased with the way this cable is up here. It's not the greatest, but it's certainly not bad. That fan may come out. I may not leave it in there, but I think everything is good. I just need to get the software side taken care of. We'll do that. I'll do that off camera, and then when we come back in a couple of weeks after the week off, we'll get config set up, get it running, and everything else working. Get some motion going, get some plastic being pushed through there. Just get it overall a working printer. Actually, that took a little longer than I was expecting today, too. I was thinking maybe hour 15, hour and a half, and we're hour 46 right now. Still not too bad. I mean, it was a good bit of work to get that done, even with the stuff that I had already crimped and soldered before. And at least we didn't have to break out the soldering iron and really get you guys triggered on my bad soldering skills. At least all you had to do is deal with seeing my bad crimping skills for the day. I don't know if you can see, but you can see maybe see how bad the solder job on the headers on that Pi Zero are. That was me trying to solder that on. It works, but it's not the prettiest thing, especially from the back side. And then this Pi Zero was in my Voron 0.1, and when I pulled the camera out, I broke the little tab that holds the camera in, so I'm not putting a camera on this printer, so save my other 2 Pi Zero 2s that have the camera clip for a build where I might use a camera. still have to manage these cables a little better over here. I don't know how, I guess tucking them like that's going to have to work because there's not a whole lot else that can be done. But that, so far, looks really good. I'm happy with it. I'll get the SD card prepped. I'll go ahead and get the clipper flashed onto the main board, start working the config, and then when we come back in 2 weeks, I'll hold off on, I'll probably make sure everything's working correctly, but I'll hold off on actually PID tune, testing to make sure plastic is moving through the extruder. I'll just make sure, and through the hot end, I'll just make sure the extruder's working, going in the right direction, make sure all my belts are tight, make sure that I've got good movement, my bed's going up and down, my end stop's working. I will be using sensorless on X and Y, so we'll have to get that configured. Run sensorless on the V0. When I upgraded the stealth burner, I went sensorless on that one. So shouldn't be too big of a change to do all that, but it's should be nice. I wish I need to look when is Earth. I need to look and see. I think I've got some vacation days. I might be able to actually make it. It's a 10-12 hour drive, I think, if I do it all in one sitting, but it's doable. Well, and even there, if I'm driving, I could bring printers. I'm going to have to double check. I think for racking too, I'm a little off over here, but that can be fixed with belt tension. It's only half a mil, if that, just enough to be noticed. So I'm happy with that, other than this bulge up here from where all the connectors are at. But it's some reason getting caught. Yeah, there's a bulge up here where the connectors are, but that's not too bad. It's livable. Oh, I still have to put the skirts on. I'll do that once I get the SD cards in. I don't want to mess with that now and have problems getting to the SD cards. So I think it looks pretty good there. This will be, although I did have a Ender 3 for a little bit, this will really be my first Bowden printer. And a buddy of mine runs Make Nashville. So it may, I may just donate it to them. They can always use more things like that. So we'll see how it comes out. And I don't know, I do have my mess. I've been in and out of the cabinets getting screws, all the clips for that, but I do have a little bit of room over there for another printer. The Salad Fork has a top mount. It's not up there right now, but I can put a spool holder up there and feed it in. The V0 still uses the rear side mount spool holder, and that's what the spool on the side is on. I normally feed it in from one that's sitting on there. So there's room over there for one more printer if I don't move the Amiga and C64 Mini. So I'm running out of space. I've got desktop here, or the laptop here for streaming. The Trident is on the floor here. In the closet is where the others are, and over my desktop here, you can see. So there's not a lot of space left in here unless I get rid of the media area for the home theater. So I don't want to do that. That's all at that end. So the home theater's at one end, my computer set up, and where I do all the streamings at the other. And then in the closet that's behind the Rook are my Prusa Mark III and my Voron V2 or V2.4 is in there. So there's no more room in there with both of them in lac enclosures. That takes or the Voron's on a lac, and of course it's got its own enclosure. The Prusa is on a lac with a lac on top of it, and it's enclosed. So there's no more room really in there. I guess one of these tiny little ones could sit on top of the Prusa enclosure. And I still have a Prusa XL with 5 tool heads on order or in pre-order, waiting on those to be available. So I haven't decided if I'm going to pull the trigger on that, because again, that's a bit pricey, but that Mark III has been such a workhorse that I'm thinking I may still go ahead and do it, just because I know that it'll be a workhorse, and it'll just run. I love my Vorons. This Trident has been bulletproof. It's been, with tap on there, it's been amazing. I haven't been running the little ones lately. I haven't really had anything. Everything I've been printing lately has been bigger, and doesn't really fit on those beds, or needed the detail from the resin printer. So those haven't been running. But the V0's been perfect, other than having a bad Pi Zero on there. It's been nearly perfect. The salad fork has boop on it. Probably not even. It's one of the beta boops, and it's been pretty well bulletproof. Other than having some extrusion problems, which ended up being a bad extruder motor, that thing has been amazing too. And they've all of them are running Revo now, so I've got one set of nozzles that work across all of my printers. The 2.4 and the Prusa Mark III have hardened steel, have the, what is that, the Obsidian nozzles in them, a 0.4 on the Prusa and a 0.6 on the Voron. So I can print any of my carbon fiber stuff on those two. If they're going and I need something speedy, I've got the Trident. If I just need something small, I've got the other two. Delmar, I am really thinking about a Micron still. That was actually on the plans prior to doing the salad fork. And I went with the salad fork because I already had the 2.4 and I hadn't built a Trident yet. And I figured, it'd be nice to do the baby Trident since I didn't have a full-size Trident. Personally, I like the Trident build better than the 2.4. The 2.4 with the flying gantry is just a cool thing to show off to everybody for sure. So when people come over, I can knock that thing out of level and say, "Hey, watch this," and you can watch it level the gantry, and it looks cool. So yeah, maybe a Micron next. I haven't tried. My salad fork was not a Fabreeko kit. I bought it before Fabreeko had their kits. I'd have to look back at my history. Let me check and see. I do have a full playlist for the build. And I do have the links to the vendor in there. Let me see who that was. If I can see on my I've got the tiny. I've got a high-res laptop screen. Even though it's 16 inches, it's a little far away, so it's a little harder to see. I want to say I've got the sticker on there. I guess I could have just went over there and looked at the sticker. But I can post it. I can post the link in. In there. When I did build the salad fork, the company I went with was the only company that had a kit at the time. It was DLL PDF was who made the kit for my salad fork. And I don't know why I don't have the link to direct to their to it in that. Check one of the other ones. My only real complaint with their kit, here's the store. My only complaint with the salad fork kit was the screws. Now, it did come with these little Weha drivers for it, but they're more of a star, they're not a hex. And that would be my only complaint. I mean, these were a pain to use at times where a normal driver, especially like my Weras or the Niwers, are a lot easier to use. But they were really good. The kit itself, I had no real complaints about. I don't remember what motors they are. The extruder motor did fail on me, and it's got an LDO motor on there now. But yeah, it was great as far as build went. No problems. That one, I was able to get the gray frame instead of just a black. And like I said, when I built it, when I ordered that kit, he was the only one that had a full kit without self-sourcing everything. So it was nice to do that. So I've got the DLL PDF on the salad fork. The Voron V0 is the LDO 0.1 kit. The Trident was the Physets kit. And the 2.4 was a combination of partial kit from Magic Studio and self-source. When I did that one, it was prior to LDO announcing their kits, so it was really, or no, the Trident's the form bot, not the Physets. It's form bot. But when I did the kit for the 2.4, the general consensus was run very fast and far away from the China kits. Don't look at any of them. The Blue Rolls, the Physets, and the FormBot, everybody was like, don't even go there. The quality's not worth it. You'll be changing out most of the parts. And then, of course, once LDO brought out their kit, those guys stepped up their game massively. But when I looked, everybody said if you're going to buy a kit instead of self-source, to go with Magic Studio. But I didn't like everything Magic Studio had, so I ended up buying the frame, the panels, and a handful of other things from them as a kit, and then self-sourcing the motors, the bed, and a few other things. That way I got the bulk of the stuff that's generally pretty good from anybody, from them, including, you know, this is their screw kit, their hardware kit for it, and I've since added more to it. But that was one thing I really liked, was their hardware kit came in this case. A lot of people had said good things about that. So, and not knowing, am I gonna stay with it, or am I gonna, you know, just lean on my Prusa and keep only it? I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of different kits and have 100 extra screws on things. So I thought that was a really good way to go. I need to look at that and see. I have not checked that. Uh, yeah, I've got actually this tackle box here uh, that I've been using for the Rook. I think it was $4 at Walmart, and then I just put all the Rook parts in it. Not the most spots, but it works. And then I've got a couple of the bigger ones. These here from Harbor Freight. I mean, what, $3 for this? This doesn't need to be all that great. It closes, it latches closed, it stays closed, and it's got compartments. um, there are things that I will not touch at Harbor Freight. These are not as good a quality as, like some of these Planos and that, but $3 for, I think it's 24 compartment. Yeah, 24 compartment. This will hold all the hardware you need for any Voron build for $3. It does the job. Yeah, there you go. With those bigger ones, you could even make print out a. I mean, that'll may not fit a full 8.5, 11, but it'll fit it pretty close, and you could do that too, and just lay it on there like that Magic Studio kit is, where you can just see where it's at. These here, I just left them in the bags, and each of the bag you can see is labeled, so that worked out good on those. Haven't had any problems with them, and I mean, they make it so easy. The end of the day, when I clean this area up, there's all my hardware. I just make sure it's all back in there. I can put it in. I've got these the bins there that you can see that the towels, the bed, and the skirts are in. I've got that. Underneath here is I think that's a Craftsman parts organizer. So when I'm doing a build, those smoked bins are really nice for putting like the printed parts in. This little one fits in there fine. I had, for the Trident, I had 2 of them. One had hardware, motors, stuff from the kit, and then the other one had all the printed parts, so I could just open up whichever one I needed and grab that stuff out. And then at the end of the day, after the stream was done, I just close them back up, slide them out of the way, and my workspace is clean again, and I can do other things in the workspace and not have it taken up. Maybe one of these days I'll have a better area where I don't have to worry about it, but I have a feeling that even if I had the space, I'd still clean it up. It's just how I do it. That's just me. I'm sure I get that from my mom. She's not OCD, but sometimes I wonder. As I'm getting older, I'm doing the same things where everything has to be perfect or close as I can get it. So I think we'll call it here. And I said next Monday, we'll be off. The wife and I are going to be traveling to Chattanooga, I think it was, taking the Tennessee Aquarium. We haven't been in a few years. I don't think we've been since 2018. So it'll be nice. And then the following week we'll come back. I'll have the software ready on here so we can take a look at it, get it moving around, pushing some plastic, and print it out. I do have the heat bed on there, so that'll be nice. We'll be able to use that. I will look and see, Delmar. I don't think that I'll be going, but I do have some time that I can take. So I'll look and see if it might be in the cards, because I really want to go to one. I missed Murph this year because the other guy that works on Saturdays with me, uh, I'm a team lead, and on Saturdays there's only two of us, so there was nobody else to back him or me up. So only one of us could be out, and he already had the time off for Murph. My mom lives in Indianapolis, so Murph would be easy. 5-hour drive up to her house, stay there for the weekend, and then one day I could pop up to Murph in Goshen. It's only like 3 hours from her house, if that. So maybe next year I'll make Murph. I'll look at Earth and see, and if I do make it, I will make sure I stop by and say hi. I'll probably take the new, let me unplug it. It doesn't need to be, we're not using it. If I do, I will take the new camera. So Lumix G85 is what I've been using for the bigger, wider shots that are looking down, rather than my Nikon, which I love my Nikon, but it's got, in order to get the focal length, it's a 18 to 140 lens, and that thing, the body's already a lot heavier than a mirrorless, because it's a full SLR. So that thing's like 4 pounds with that lens on it. This is half that. So if I do go, I'll take it so I can get some video and maybe do a vlog to upload later, but we'll see. And I'll probably keep you guys informed, whether it's on my streams or when I'm on one of Steve's or Daniel's or Nero's or whatnot. I'll look at it later today and see what's going on. And then when I'm back at work on Wednesday, I'll take a look at my time and see what I've got, because it would be nice, but I will be taking a week off at Thanksgiving. And then we've got our 20-year anniversary is next year, and my in-laws are taking us on a Caribbean cruise in April. So I've got to have some time for that too. So we'll see. If I've got the time, though, I might take a couple days, and I think that would be real fun to go up there and meet some of you guys that I only know through YouTube, and see the whole thing of what's going on at those festivals. I think it'd be a blast. All right, guys. I will. I don't know if I'll be on Nero's tomorrow. Wife's off tomorrow, so we normally do a bunch of things on Tuesdays. But maybe Wednesday I'll be on Daniel's stream to say hi to everybody, if I can have it on while I'm working. Everybody have a great day. Well, that'll be nice to see. If not, I'll catch it on the vlogs. But everybody have a great day, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for chatting, and thanks for watching. Bye, guys.